of that, I guess there was a few privileges involved in having Grandpa in such a prestigious position.
Yes, yes.
And then you're chauffeured to school?
The RACV just came into being round about that time.
Was he involved in that, or was he?
Oh yes, Dad was, what should we say, he reminds me of, I don't know, anything to do with the motor world and all the rest, but his dad always had his nose in, or his hand in, or whatever you like to call them. And the RACV came into being, and there was a chap called Horry Harrison. He was the first editor, and he was a great friend of Dad's. We used to entertain him at our house a lot. He lived on the Alexandra Avenue down by the river there. And I always remember Horry because when I had a little dog called Jock, I had just used to absolutely adore, and Jock was my favourite. But the fact that Mum and Dad were living in a movie strip, when I came in and there was terrible trouble of whether I could have Jock there, and Jock was a digger, and Jock used to dig out all the fans. And the night, and I'd get up early, very pregnant, and try and put them all back in the ground. And the story was that the people said okay, because I was heavily pregnant when I could keep the dog for the short time, and in that time was a very nervous period with Jock in the garden. But then Horry had a niece who had young children, because I was worried sick of what would happen to Jock. And so we'd arranged that Jock would have a home with them. And so when I went off to hospital to have Sandra, and I had to give Jock a home goodbye, but then I was always, and I used to hear about him from Horry Harrison, and he settled in very well, and he was very happy. I suppose he had a bigger garden to dig in than the flat. It was a dear little dog.
And so, as part of his role in the Chamber of Commerce, Mum mentioned that you used to be chauffeured to school. What was that like?
What?
You used to be chauffeured to school. What was that like?
Oh, well, no, that wasn't anything to do with that.
Oh, right.
That was because that was in the Depression.
Oh.
And we were, Uncle Dean was at Melbourne Grammar, and Ness and I were at Lauriston. And everywhere you tried to save money. So when Dad went to work, he used to drop us off at Lauriston, which is in Melbourne, and then on to Dean at Grammar. And so we only had, we used to have these tickets, term tickets. So that saved half fare each time on go. You only use one ticket instead of two. We were lucky. I was very lucky. My father had worked right through the Depression, but it was a very tricky time for everybody really. And then the last year that we were at school, we had this beach house at Black Rock, the beach house, and that sold the last year to pay our fees through school. And then, miraculously, by that time, the world realised there was going to be another war and things were gearing up.
Tell me about the white fur coat.
Oh, well, I can't, that's only hearsay because I don't remember that, but it was a terribly, terribly sad affair for my mother. Dad went to, I forgot, it was Chicago, or I think it was Chicago, when he went, that was 1990, well I would have been 4, so I should remember, but I guess you don't remember your crimes. And he brought back the first taxi cabs to Australia. Oh, I suppose it was Australia, I don't know. And they were the yellow taxi cabs. And that was a big deal. That was Dad's first, really big point there in this. Became a pioneer in this. I don't know whether he ran the company or whether it was, employed with somebody else to do it. I don't know. But anyway, he went over and negotiated and brought them back. Mm-hmm. And of course, that ship travel, you brought back a lot more things than you do now. And apparently, I remember he bought beautiful jointed dolls for Auntie Ness and I, which we had. Oh, you used to play with them, I think, those dolls. You all had them. They never, I don't know what happened to them in the end. Anyway, and I can't remember any of the clothes, but he bought me this little white fur coat, which I insisted on wearing everywhere. And down by the Yarra, getting on towards Cood Island, there used to be a boat place where boat builds and things had a bit of sheds and things there. And that, when you have a boat, well, it's the same, exactly the same now. There's always something being done. There's a propeller being done, or they're being scraped, or they're this, that and the other. And I've forgotten which boat it was that Dad's then, it was being, had its bottom painted, and the bottoms were green, and the tops were, I don't know why the bottoms were painted green. So I was helping, of course, and so I potted down, apparently. And Mum used to tell the story how she was sitting in the car watching, and she saw me go in and dip my finger in and found it was paint, and took my hand in and then looked around for something to do with it, and say, I wiped it all down my little white fur coat. That was the end of the white fur coat.
Oh dear.
I can't remember. Oh dear.
And so Mum tells me you used to take holidays in Tasmania and in the Dandenongs too.
Oh yeah. Yes. See, we only had 3 terms at school then, and then there were 2 holidays.
Right.
And because of Dad didn't get those holidays, but we mostly went where he could come. I don't know if he came during the week, he'd come the weekends, it'd only be a fortnight. But a lovely place, well, I say lovely, they're fascinating to children because they're all, what it's like when you're a child exploring different houses. And that was the May or September, we were often in the Dandenongs, had many holidays there. And I don't know what we did, we just walked or played, but it was always lovely. And then we were allowed to take, a couple of schools, we each have a school friend. They were lovely. And then I used to get sent off with Nance and Helen, who were older than I was. It isn't anything now, but 5 years when you were small. And they were over here at boarding school. And I'd often get sent off with them in the old Una and then the Nirana boats to Tasmania. They were good. And Uncle Fred then was a mine manager at Mount Lyell Mine when they were at Queenstown, and that was a fascinating place with all the ore. I used to enjoy those holidays very much. And they spent a lot of time. We were really, the families were brought up very, very